I'm gonna start cutting this. I'm cutting this down with a 4, these are 500, sorry. My little girl manicured me, so I have to keep my toes out. This is gonna give it a much more natural look than, in my opinion, than it was. A lot of customers, you'll ask them if they want this and they won't if they haven't seen it. But if you show this to them and a sample that's cut half and half, much more likely to choose it. Just firm pressure and don't move so fast that this can't cut. And make sure you overlap your passes a few different directions. Work your edges. Probably shouldn't yell so loud for the microphone. I should talk real quiet so people turn their speakers up at home and then... Yes, ma'am. So that's 5, and sorry.
That's generally what you want to start with?
Yeah, that's usually what I pick, and then I like to go to 800. If you go to 1,000, you're fine, but be really careful once you hit 1,000. Really make a few extra passes, and I'd say once you start going over 1,000, generally I'm going to run it all the way up to at least 5 and a foam backed pad of some sort that'll give you an even finish, because you'll definitely notice once you get over 1,000, it's very hard to not get like intermittent polishing, and nothing looks worse to me than something that looks like it's supposed to be polished that's not. So, and not to mention, then you're not really deglossed, so you still see a sheen. So you do away with the aspect, this is really hard for any damage to show. This will be like a very durable top from being sanded, but as soon as you run it up to say 2,000 and you start seeing a partial polish, it just looks patchy. Have you ever seen like Corian that's like, I hate Corian. So I was a Star-On distributor. I worked so hard to be a Star-On distributor, and I installed like 3 countertops, and I was like, wow, this is crap. It's nice to work with, you can cut it and do it, but then I was like, epoxy is easier than this, and way harder. You could polish Corian, and it was like, you'd take your fingernail accidentally and scuff it back off, and you'd be like, damn it, okay, don't touch it with your fingernail. So, all right, 800 grit. You do notice I try to keep the sanding pad flat the whole time, especially my coarser grits. You're really trying to profile. You're cutting highs off. You're not trying to dip down into lows, because you're trying to create a level top. And a lot of people dig their sander around to really just get into every little nook and cranny, and they think they're saving time, and then afterwards they get a really ripply top out of it. So if you ever do have an uneven top too, you will be surprised how much deglossing it'll not only level it, but also hide any unevenness there could be. This is all my floors, this exact process. That's all 800 grit out there. That's gonna be really nice. Were one of you guys asking a question?
The floors of it, that says the countertop epoxy.
Oh no, that's flooring epoxy,
It's
but we
flooring epoxy,
sanded
it's
it
a
all.
product.
Yeah, but we sanded that though. Yeah, that's same as the product we put on the patio yesterday. That's our Ultraflex product. So that's usually used exterior or in a more like a shop situation. But if you notice just to the left out the door, that's the Ultraflex epoxy poured right there in that square. So you see you can still do a really nice metallic with it or whatnot. It's very inexpensive compared to any epoxy that you can do. I'd say your square footage coverage and everything, that's the best bang for your buck. It is not UV stable, and I will not put a UV inhibitor because it'll keep it from being as flexible and the penetration value. So the fact that I don't want to change the chemical makeup of that, but if you want something UV, go to the diamond gloss, and that's a 2-to-1 mix ratio product. It flows quite a bit better than the countertop, and it has a lot of air release and different things in it, so it's definitely a good flooring epoxy, but more for UV and stuff like that, like if you're in front of windows and whatnot. All right, there we are. So that is, you always clean in between grits. Just remember that this sandpaper has grits on it, and they always fall off. A few of them will fall off. And especially if you're gonna polish, like if we were to run this up to 5,000 and you weren't cleaning in between, one thing you'll find that'll happen is some of those little particles will get stuck on the surface, and maybe it's a 500 grit particle and you're up to 5,000, and now it's just pushing that piece of sand around. And that's when you look down at a clear coat or something and you see all those swirls. That's usually from a really bad like orbital action on your sander, like that doesn't have a dual oscillating action. So that's one kind of important thing, is that you're running some kind of DA, like a dual action orbital sander. It's much less likely to leave swirl marks. And it doesn't have to be a fancy one, a pestle or anything. The DeWalt's work just fine. And the other is just keep it clean in between there, and don't contaminate your pads. Like one thing I see people clean between, but they'll throw their pads down on a dirty table, especially like wet sanding, and then it's all the pads are intercontaminated with dust and dirt, and even maybe worse, larger chunks. I'm gonna do Diamond Shield. This is a nano coating. So one reason epoxy will bond to a substrate is there's different molecule shapes and whatnot, but one thing is it's always epoxy. A good epoxy is an open molecule structure, a very open molecule. So it has better elongation and a lot of the durability factors that you'd want in a countertop or a floor. And urethanes don't have that. Urethane won't bond the same. It won't penetrate a slab or something like that, but it will bond really well to an open molecule like epoxy on top. So I do not believe in sacrificial top coats. I never ever coat the top of my epoxy, but I will do what I consider grouting it with a nanoparticle. And this is meant to not be a coating on top, but it's meant to fill in all those open molecules of the epoxy without having to put like a urethane or something on top. So this epoxy is very chemical resistant already. I would take a white marble clear and pour gas and let it evaporate, and I wouldn't be scared. It may soften it a tiny bit if you left it on a really fresh epoxy or whatnot, but you're not gonna get like etching or blistering immediately like anything else. And this is really gonna aid in that. So I usually will wipe it down because it's really gonna make this very stain resistant, hydrophobic, easier to clean, and I'll just do it and let you guys, which it's already stain resistant, but a lot of these people will buy this in like a salon where they're pouring acetone and hair color and stuff, and I say go ahead and try to protect your top of this. Now just pour it. You don't use a lot of it. Usually this bottle should go about 100 square feet if you're gingerly with it. And I always try to keep reminding people it's not a coating, so just keep massaging it in. You're supposed to just work it into the top. And this will last like several years with regular use. And you might, if you want it really, really perfect, you might do this every year. And before it completely dries, just keep buffing it until you buff it right off. So don't work too large of a section at a time. Dude, I broke down on the mountains the other day, and it was really funny. It was right after I got back from Italy and Switzerland, and I was like, man, the people over in Italy were all really sweet. They clearly did not like me that much. And I thought, oh, this is funny. I thought I'm gonna kind of compare the mountain people of Colorado to the mountain people I just met. And I was like, Americans are so friendly. It was all little old ladies in Subarus. Like, I walked like 7 miles, and I got passed by so many like Priuses and Subarus. There's a pass called Kebler Pass. It's really beautiful, and it was everybody on this beautiful drive. And then I pretty soon I started like trying to get my beard a little prettier. I was like, man, maybe I look really bad. I haven't seen a mirror, so no. Some really cool young hippie guy like stopped. He's like, I gotta pee. Jump in. I was like, all right, maybe if I meet a hippie anywhere in the world, they'll be cool with me. Yeah, America, do better.
Right.
Hippie lady in a Prius, do better. I thought, if I get so tired I can't walk anymore, because the town I had to walk to is about 20 miles away, and I thought, I ain't walking 20 miles. I'll stack rocks across the road, make a roadblock, and have a conversation. Drag a log across. I'll move this for that passenger seat.
Don't give people ideas.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding. I was looking at this rock field and I thought, oh, I could definitely the next one. Thought I can walk to the next one. And then I was like, okay, I can walk to the next one. And I was like, man, I might stack some rocks in front of some cars. I'm sure they thought I was some hippie that did an acid trip and didn't know where I was. I'm like, no, my truck is in the woods and my truck is in the mountains and I can't drive it. I kept it being in disbelief. I was like, no, I'm not going to walk. And then I was like, man, I don't even have reception to Google what the hell's wrong with my transmission. And I was like, damn, I bet I'm walking. It's kind of it was one of those times where I got closer to God. I was like, I guess it's not my plans today. And then I finally come across this dude that has a Starlink, and he's like, hook up to Starlink. And his girlfriend's like, why? Who is this man? Yeah. He's like, we'll drive you to town. She's like, no, we're not. And then he's like, well, we're going to clean up if you still need help. Bye. Stranger danger. I mean, I did walk out of the woods up on their campsite. I see you have a Starlink. Care if I log in? All right. Now, tell me that you don't like this. Fill your regular sample and then come and really try to look at the reflection in this. Look at the gloss and degloss side and feel it. Because most customers, a huge part of what attracts them is the feel of it. So, doesn't that feel awesome?
I'm gonna touch it for real.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
That does feel actually pretty amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
Way smoother than glossy epoxy, right? Like no glossy epoxy is that smooth.
I'm super curious about the shield stuff you just put on because I did some conversion varnish birch veneer bar top and they came back stained with like red Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
That's what I'm worried about with like something like this.
Oh, you aren't staining that white marble with Kool-Aid. I mean, we sell like thousands of gallons of that a year.
Grenadine, but yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, you'll never stain that.
Okay.